Yeah, you would think that with the full faith and credit clause of the Constitution, that it would be applicable for medical conditions. A person's diagnosis and his treatment plan does not change when he crosses state lines. So it's irrational at best to punish someone for going to a different state and carrying the medicine that a physician recommends for that patient.
Yeah.
Well, the weed man's going to fight that. He's got a case in appellate court. It's going to be heard May the 4th, a Monday at 10 a.m. right here at the Hughes Justice Complex, and he is arguing that just that very thing. One of his arguments is that he should not have been arrested for carrying his medicine from California because he's a legitimate patient in California. He's visiting his family here in New Jersey, and he should not have been arrested for that.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal
Yeah.
case right there.
It is.
Could really impact a lot of different laws here in the state of New Jersey and throughout the country.
Absolutely. So we certainly wish the Ed Fortune, the New Jersey weed man, a lot of luck with that court case coming up. And I plan to be there in court to at least give him support for his effort to expand the medical marijuana program throughout the country. Really.
Yes, yes. Shout out to Weed Man. He's always he's constantly working hard. People view him as have viewed him as a criminal, but let's be honest here. I mean, just because you're a criminal, does it make you a bad person? No way, not at all. Good people sometimes, like that sign says, good people have to break bad laws, and that's what it's come down to for Ed.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. He's been a dedicated activist. And he's done time for it too. So
Yes.
I saw on his website that he was arrested 40 times in his life already.
It's crazy.
So because he's such an outspoken advocate for marijuana reform. But I think the community and the culture is finally catching up to Weed Man. We have leaders in our community, and sometimes it just takes a while for the community to catch up to these leaders. And I certainly hope that's the case with what New Jersey Weed Man is doing.
Oh yeah, NJ Weedman is light years ahead. When we talk about someone that's been ahead of this for so many years, you're talking light years when it comes to NJ Weedman. He's definitely opened a lot of doors, including for my daughter. So I always give him, big ups. I always give him his props because he deserves it. He's been through hell and back as far as fighting for our freedoms. So.
And he's also bringing up the religious aspect. Marijuana has been recognized as a sacrament in many religions, both historically and currently. And the weed man is a Rastafarian, and the Rastafarian religion uses marijuana sacramentally.
This is the Constitution right, isn't it?
One would think so.
Yeah, that's
certainly,
what I thought.
Certainly, America prides itself on its respect for freedom of religion, but unless that religion uses the wrong sacrament, marijuana instead of wine.
Well, not only that, if it's dipping in somebody's pockets, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But anything else new going on?
Well, there's a lot of things new going on. I'm Ken Walski. I'm executive director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey. We had a very lively meeting Tuesday. Great turnout at the Lawrence Township Library for our annual our monthly meeting rather on the second Tuesday of every month at the Lawrence Library at 7 p.m. Great turnout. There's just so many things happening now with our. I guess it's more like a spring offensive, 420, sort of the holy high days of the culture, where many activists take to the street to demonstrate their support for marijuana reform.
National Marijuana Day.
Yeah, we're going to have a demonstration right here at the State House on Monday, April 20th.
Yes.
There's going to be an event in Philadelphia at the Rick Rack Club in South Philly on Saturday night. A great number of bands and whatnot are coming. Have to be 21, I understand, because they serve alcoholic beverages there. But that's going to be a very nice time, and CMMNJ has been invited to have a table there. Of course, the May 2nd Million Marijuana March is going to be taking place all over the world. And right here in Camden, New Jersey, we're going to be participating in that on the first Saturday in May. There's also going to be a big demonstration in New York, a march through New York City for the Million Marijuana March. we'll be going up to Ramapo College on April 24th for the Ramapo Green Fest,
Nice.
hosted by Ramapo Normal. And so, it certainly is a very active time of the year for us, what with the court cases, too, coming up. Weedman's court case coming up, which is very big. We thought there was going to be a court case on the effort to unionize the Alternative Treatment Center workers in Egg Harbor at the Compassionate Care Foundation, but apparently those workers withdrew that request for it to be unionized. So that was going to be. I thought that was going to be a very interesting court case coming up too, but that was either canceled or postponed.
That that's sad though. He went through a lot. I remember him not getting paid for a while, right? He was
Who's that?
the CEO of.
Oh yeah, well, some of them dropped out. Yeah, the alternative treatment centers really are struggling financially because so few patients are taking part in the program, and those patients who are taking part in the program can't afford the $535 an ounce that Steve is saying here. And he's got a sign here saying, "My disease is not your cash cow." And there's no sliding scale. It's the only medicine in New Jersey that is taxed, medical marijuana. It's subject to a 7% sales tax. Mr. No New Taxes Christie has imposed a 7% sales tax on the sale of marijuana.
Well, he said it was blood money, but I mean, you're charging my little girl 7% for her medication. I think I consider that blood money because that's saving her life.
Right, and it's and insurance doesn't cover this medical marijuana, so it's all out-of-pocket expenses, and it just really disenfranchises, just makes it so impossible for people who have limited financial means to take part in this program. I mean, if they need 2 ounces a month, that's $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year just for your medicine. Out-of-pocket expenses. People are making less than that on Social Security.
Absolutely.
So, it just doesn't work.
And many of the patients are, by the way, on Social Security. So
Yeah.
this is just another characteristic and another way of showing that this whole program was designed to fail. I mean, these politicians actually sat there and designed this program around it to fail. Let's be honest. And that's what's going on right now. I mean, you got less than 4,000 patients in the state that has 9 million.
Right.
You're definitely trying to make these programs fail. And how are these dispensaries supposed to stay afloat?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. How are they? If you only got 4,000 and you got just 3 dispensaries, well, 2.5, like Ken said, that are fully functional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some people said, well, the people who ran the dispensaries were friends of Governor Christie, but the reality is, if they were friends, they weren't very good friends because they're all going into debt. They're just not working, the program really is way too restrictive. The original bill had home cultivation in it, Ricky. That passed in the state Senate here in New Jersey in February of 2009. It would allow patients to grow 6 plants if they had an ID card and they had a recommendation from their physician and they were covered by their physician and followed by their physician. It was a very tight program. Home cultivation was available in 13 of the states. When New Jersey passed that bill in the state Senate. And home cultivation guarantees access to patients.
Absolutely.
Not everybody can do it, but by God, some people can do it.
Yes.
And they could designate a caregiver. The original concept of these alternative treatment centers, whether they were going to be mom and pop kind of collective gardens where patients would own the plants in the collective garden, and they would reimburse the alternative treatment center just for the cost of producing, making those plants into medicine for them. So, it was a very good bill, but unfortunately that the whole alternative treatment center concept got changed from mom and pop collective gardens to the kind of, almost a pharmacy now that they have now, where...
Well, of course it did. If you're paying $535 per ounce, it would cut into their money to have your own garden. So, of course it would fall apart right there.
Yeah.
We're talking about money again. Everything comes down to money. When it comes to patients' health, that's all we talk about here in the state of New Jersey, and it's truly sad. we need to change our priorities and stop making it all about money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And well, that's what I was arguing too in Pennsylvania right now. There's a medical marijuana bill working its way through the legislature, and I was invited to testify before the joint House and Judiciary Committee in Philadelphia about the medical marijuana bill there. And I talked about all the shortcomings of New Jersey's program and asked them not to make the same mistakes that we made here and to allow home cultivation to at least guarantee access to some patients and explicit workplace protections. Some of the really important measures that we have either neglected or have put into our peril, like the physician registry. That only a couple of 2% of the doctors in the state are taking part in the medicinal marijuana program
sad.
because there's this physician registry where they have to jump through these bureaucratic hoops in order to take part in the program. It wasn't meant to be like that. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite of what it was meant to be.
It's sad because when we talk about medical doctors, and I mean, their whole education is funded by pharmaceutical companies. Let's just start that off right away. But when we talk about medical doctors, they do some of the most amazing things. They learn some of the most amazing things, and you got to give them that much respect. To turn around and make them have to get certified separately in order to prescribe medicinal cannabis is totally absurd. It's ridiculous. And again, it goes back to money. I mean, these doctors actually have to pay to get certified in something natural that has actually been proven over and over again to save lives. And no one's died. I mean, we all know that. No one's died from medicinal cannabis. So what kind of training and what kind of certification do these doctors actually need when you're talking about, doctors dealing with some of the hardest narcotics in the world, some of the most addictive narcotics? It's been proven over and over again that there is no addiction to cannabis. It's been proven over and over again, like Christy always says here, that it is a gateway drug. That is totally false. That is going back to the, reefer madness. Look, let's get over the reefer madness, guys. Seriously. We are now in 2015. We're not in 20 or 20?
37.
Whatever. Come on, guys. Step up. I mean, why are you going to make these doctors jump over hoop after hoop in order to get a certification? And, I've been talking to someone in North Carolina, and they've been, asking me what is it that they can do to actually make their program work there, because they're actually trying to implement a program in North Carolina. Shout out to Michael Riley and his beautiful little girl, Michaela. And they have a CBD only bill going on right now. And I told them, no way, don't do it. Because when you talk about CBD, you're talking about just one compound out of, another 300 compounds?
Yeah, there's at least 60 cannabinoids themselves, and about 300 total. Some say 420.
Yeah,
420.
If you're only going to have one compound out of 420, your chances of being able to relieve whatever kind of disorder that you have is going to be slim to none. I mean,
Right.
You need every single compound, and they actually all counteract each other.
Right, exactly. You were just saying how the THC counteracts the CBD and vice versa, and it really is. The plant works synergistically. These compounds work together.
Yes, they do.
And it is not correct to just try to synthesize them one or more compound or extract just one compound. That was the problem with Marinol. Here in 1985, the FDA approved the synthetic tetrahydrocannabinol, the main ingredient in marijuana that is psychoactive. They approved the synthetic version of that, and it went through phase 3 clinical trials, and it's marketed by the FDA as Marinol. But most people don't like it because it's difficult to titrate. It's an oral dosage. It takes a long time to work, and people get uncomfortably high with it because it doesn't have the CBDs and the other cannabinoids in it to counteract the THC. So It really is important to have access to whole plant marijuana rather than one.
Absolutely. Hashtag whole plant, everybody.
And it's a very good point you made too about the education for the physicians. Right now, the Department of Health requires them to have current training in pain management and addiction control, and this is for doctors who are already giving IV morphine.
Yes.
So they say this is ridiculous, and I'm not going to do it. But what the Department of Health should reasonably require is some education about the endocannabinoid system, how these components of marijuana work in the human body. What are these receptors in every organ of the human body? How do you turn them on and how do you turn them off? How do you block them? How do you the agonists and the antagonists for these receptors? This is an emerging science that is only a couple of decades old. So, and it has, it's like the discovery of an entirely new system in the body, like the circulatory system or the respiratory system. It's the endocannabinoid system. And yet this wasn't taught in medical schools. And even today, only 13% of medical schools even mention the endocannabinoid system. 13% of the medical schools in the United States. So this is the kind of training and education that physicians need to know. The science behind medical marijuana, how marijuana works in the body, why marijuana works in the body, and why it's safe and effective for so many different diseases and symptoms and conditions. But this is not the kind of thing that the Department of Health is requiring the physicians in this state to learn about. If I were the commissioner of the Department of Health, any doctor that took care of a patient with any one of the qualifying conditions would be required, as part of his continuing his medical license in the state, to have some type of training on why marijuana works in the human body.
This is why, professionals such as yourself should be in charge of programs in the state, because you actually know what you're talking about. Now, a state trooper, I don't think he has any kind of training on anything you're talking about right now. He'd probably be lost. He'll have a headache by the time you're done and over with the conversation. So why is it that we continue to let these people be in charge of a medicinal program?
Oh, that's a good question. And the answer really is because Governor Christie doesn't believe in this program. Governor Christie is trying to stop this program. Governor Christie says if he were elected president, he would start cracking down on all the marijuana reform throughout the country.
Let's be honest here. I'll say it bluntly. He wants people to die. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Is he around? I'll tell him to his face, because people need this. People need this medication. This is a legitimate medication.
Yeah, we talked about Sabina Rose,
Rest in peace.
dying before she ever had a chance to try medical marijuana. But look at the veterans. Look at the veterans who have post-traumatic stress disorder. 500,000 veterans, I understand, in this country right now, Ricky, suffer from PTSD. 500,000. And 22 veterans a day are committing suicide because PTSD is so poorly managed by traditional pharmaceuticals.
And these are our troops that protect us.
Right. And we train them very exquisitely, and equip them exquisitely to go out and do their job. But once they do it, then they come home and it's like, well, forget you, you're wounded or you're in trouble. Well, sorry, you're on your own now.
Yeah, you're having flashbacks. Go take whatever psych med that you can take, and we'll give you another med for the side effects to that, and then after that, we'll give you another one, and by then you'd probably be dead by then. Let's be honest.
And about a dozen states in the country and several foreign countries recognize marijuana as an effective treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. But not New Jersey.
No, not at all.
And as a matter of fact, the Department of Health rejected our petition for rulemaking, where we asked them to add post-traumatic stress disorder in view of the veterans who were being hurt and being killed, really, by not having access to this proper medicine. So, but the Department of Health turned it down, and they said, no, we're not going to allow post-traumatic stress disorder as a qualifying condition, at least not at this time. So it's very disappointing. You're right. It really is a matter of life and death.
It is.
And people are dying without access to the proper medicine.
Proper medication, and our solution to proper medication is depending on pharmaceutical drugs. It's been proven over and over again. Pharmaceutical drugs have horrible effects. Every single patient that's out here right now will tell you that firsthand, and that's why they are out here, because they want the right to have proper medication, that they don't have to worry about dying off of taking medication. I
Yeah.
mean,
But it's not just prescription drugs that are dangerous too, Ricky. The acetaminophen, which is the main ingredient in Tylenol, is the leading cause of liver failure in the United States.
it's sad.
You know, a simple over-the-counter drug. It's available in supermarkets and drugstores all over the country, and nobody realizes how much damage this is doing to our society. How a simple thing like acetaminophen or Tylenol is driving up pain costs, healthcare costs, and causing so much unnecessary suffering in the United
Well,
States.
I'm sure they are aware. They just know that they're going to get paid more off of that. So that's what is coming down for them. Again, money.
And marijuana is an effective pain management.
Oh, yeah.
And it's safer than aspirin, safer than Tylenol. And yet in New Jersey we only allow marijuana for pain in the cases of cancer and HIV/AIDS, and all other cases of chronic pain are not a qualifying condition.
Which
for,
is sad,
for
because
marijuana
you're
therapy.
talking about people that have hardware in the back. As we all know, any foreign body in the body is going to cause pain. Simple as that.
Right.
I mean, these are people that are going through extreme pain. I know patients that are sickle cell anemia. They go through horrible muscle pain. That should be recognized too as one of the conditions to be able to have access. Bipolar disorder is not recognized in the state of New Jersey. That is another condition. We're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, over 700 different conditions that cannabis can relieve. 700, okay? Any of you guys with your fancy suits on, if you have a condition, you could probably get the treatment, you know? And you're being deprived of that.
Absolutely, it's a safer treatment than what you have now. You know, so many people have accidents, and they suffer for the rest of their lives after a simple accident or burn or something like that, and these, they never get better.
No.
So they have to live with this for the rest of their lives, and the only alternative is narcotics or suffering, and marijuana really is a safer alternative for these people, and just the elderly. It's not easy getting old, Ricky.
You're a young man. Stop.
And but I have glimpses into the type of chronic pain that attends the aging process, the arthritis, the degenerative disc disease. So many conditions really do have pain that is associated with them. It is the most common reason for marijuana therapy throughout the country. And 1 in 5 people, in fact, have chronic pain at least sometime in their lives. So, it really is a major issue, and here we have the ability to treat this with a safe and effective treatment, and yet we're not allowing it. It's a tragedy. It really is a tragedy here, Ricky.
It really is, and that's why people continue to leave the state, because they know that this program isn't going to move up anywhere. But we're here to change that. We have to continue to fight for this, either into you leave the state, or if you're going to stay here, you got to fight for your rights. I mean, because if you don't, you're going to continue to be deprived.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speak your mind. If you don't, who will?
Yeah, absolutely. People have to stop being sheep when it comes to this, because we are being guided by some kind of a sheepdog to tell us where to go, and what it is we need, and when to eat, and when not to eat, and when to drink, and when not to drink. Look, okay, we are in the United States of America. Okay, that is a big deal. All that stuff goes on in other countries. That's what we think. But right now, it's going on right now, right in front of you. Every single patient here will tell you firsthand the struggles that they've gone through. And everything they've been through with their condition, we all have a story to tell. And why is it that people that have lifespans of 9 or 10 years after being diagnosed are not being allowed to actually have something that's going to help them, something that they should be able to have access to? These are people that are dying. These aren't people, just regular, everyday people that are, just wanting to smoke marijuana. These are people that are legitimately